Okay, you guys are looking at the site of my summertime desert bush camp. So this is in an area where I have some caches placed out here. So my goal for this spot is to build a little bit more, not permanent of a shelter, but a little bit more substantial of a shelter and little bush camp area in here. I picked this area for a couple of reasons. One, there's a lot of material in here. There's obviously a lot of trees, a lot of rocks, a lot of the things that I'll need to construct kind of a little more substantial of a shelter. The other reason I picked this area is because it's along one of my potential bug out routes. So this would be a place, theoretically, that I would be able to stop and hole up for a couple of days. So the long-term plan will be to establish some supplies here, develop a little bit of a campsite, and then of course I'll use it from time to time just for enjoyment and camping and doing my little bushcraft stuff. So here's a little look at the surroundings. So I've got this nice open area out here. This will be a good place for me to set up a fairly decent sized warming and cooking fire. I'm going to build the camp and the structure of the shelter off of those trees back there. They're well situated so that I can build a couple of wind block kind of walls and then also have a couple of different options for hanging a hammock or sleeping configurations. Then over here you can see I'm right off the side of a little cut, and in that cut there's a lot of rock. So a lot of that rock will be really close. Rock is one of the hardest things to move very much of very far, so I wanted to pick a spot that was fairly close to that as one of my materials to use. So my first step is I'm going to start trimming away all of the branches that will be in the way of my shelter construction, that portion of the bush camp. One thing that I want to keep in mind is I don't want to cut any more limbs than I have to. I want to leave as much foliage in place as possible that will provide camouflage, cover, and protection from the elements. Also, as I trim the limbs, I'm going to pile all my material and save it so I can use it in backfilling the walls and camouflaging my shelter. So I need about 4 decent sized poles for my shelter. I've come quite a ways away to harvest those poles. I'm about 200-300 yards away from the site of my actual bush camp, because one thing I don't want to do is I don't want to disturb any more of the area immediately around my bush camp than I absolutely have to, just again to decrease the chances of drawing attention to that area. Okay, so I've been dealing with some inclement weather out here, but I got a framework up. So the idea is that that framework will give me the platform to tie tarps off of, construct a roof, and then also shore up some wall/windbreaks around it. I think what I'm going to do is take a break from construction on the camp portion and build myself a little fire pit because I'm starving. All right, well, I'm starving. I've been working on getting this site prepped. I've got some pretty good first steps in place for the my spring and summer desert bush camp. So I'm gonna make myself a mountain house, grab a little bite to eat, and start to get settled in for the night.